Thank you, Apostole. Kalimera, dear all. Let's assume, knock on wood, that you need to undergo a surgery. Would you do it except in a case of a great necessity in a hospital with the 2005 equipment, expertise, and experience that is almost 20 years ago? In line with this example, why buy bunkers with an obsolete, outdated standard, for example 2005, which will not protect your health interest or your interest in general, and has not incorporated the experience, the knowledge, the parameters, or the revised limits that are optimized? Talking about ISO, first of all, very few people know that it derived from the Greek word isos, and it's a network of national standardization bodies from 170 countries today that has developed more than 25,000 standards. Are the standards perfect? No, because you need to remember that in the working group or the technical subcommittee or the technical committee, we have parties that are representing different interests. So it's not only, for example, a class society, a laboratory, an operator, or an engine maker, but we also have refineries, traders, and fuel suppliers. So the standards are developed through the global consensus. When it comes to the famous A217, we need to remember two things. First of all, it's a purchase standard that specifies the requirements of the bunkers prior to the conventional onboard treatment. So the suppliers must give something that is fit for purpose, but it's down to the crew to make it fit for use by settling, centrifuging, heating, etc. The second basic principle is that ISO has no legal authority to enforce the standard. When a new edition is out, it technically revokes the previous one. However, unless the standard is used in a commercial agreement, either a fuel purchasing contract or a charter party clause for fuels, it will not gain any legal standing. So we have to utilize it in the respective transactions. Why the specs are changing? Because everything is changing. The fuel, the refining, the hydrocarbons used, the blending, the environmental regulations. So together we need a changing standard. It was many years ago, back in 1982, that the British standard came up with the first one, and then it was replaced by the first ISO 217 1987, giving a general guidance, and then things started to change. Why? Secondary refining, catalytic cracking. We had catalytic fines slipping into the production, operational issues, and this was reflected in the 96 edition. At that time, there was an aluminum content maximum of 30 ppm. Silicon was not even mentioned. Some years ago, we had used lubricating oil dumped in the fuels. The famous Calamus case, some of you may remember, that led to another improvement by introducing parameters that are related to the presence of ULO. In 2010, it was an IMO requirement that dictated that we need a stricter spec for marine fuels. Then we had the 2012, that is more or less the same with the 2010. The 2017 edition that is being used today, before the famous PAS or PAS, the publicly available spec giving guidance at that time to the IMO 2020 fuels, the well-known VLSFOs. We are expecting now the 2024 edition that will have significant changes to grades and parameters. And what we will see is that we're moving from 2 tables to 4 tables, each of them dedicated to high sulfur fuel oils for the exhaust gas cleaning system fitted vessels, the VLSFO, the distillates, and the biofuels that is probably the best stepping stone to decarbonization. And some other additions like the minimum viscosity. You may bunker an 380 CST fuel, basis RMT 380, and at the end of the day you are getting a viscosity of 5 CST. And still, the fuel is meeting the spec due to the lack of the minimum viscosity criterion. Chemical species like organic chlorides or chlorinated compounds, what we are learning from the experience. The 2022 case in Singapore with the high sulfur fuel oils, when Glencore was involved, resulting in immobilization of several vessels. So we have a new requirement that the chlorides should not exceed the 50 ppm. What we learned from the test methods and the stability of VLSFOs, and a lot of new informative annexes that are really updated. Just to share with you a Greek update. Last year we tried to organize a biofuel supply in Greece. It was not possible because the 2017 edition was not ratified. The 2017 is not ideal for biofuels because it says that deliberate flame of blending is not permitted, but on the other hand, in the general clause 5, it says that the fuel will not be only petroleum hydrocarbons, but it may contain synthetic or renewable sources. So we are using ISO 8217 of 2017 for the biofuel supply, although it's not ideal. So what the Greek government did, and the 3 ministries had to collaborate, was that in February, earlier this year, they ratified the 2017 edition. And then they came up with this very, very creative paragraph stating that in principle, you can supply in Greece up to B100 as long as you have the approval of the Ships Classification Society. Talking about guidelines, because CIMAC and ISO go hand in hand, and there are a lot of common members in both committees. We will be having 2 interesting papers. The first one is a guideline for the flame-based biofuels. And the second one will be an FAQ, frequently asked questions on the 2024 edition, when it is out in May 24 this year. That was also the case with the 2017 edition. Taking the opportunity, just to let you know that 1 year ago, I can see Adonis Trakakis, who initiated the idea. We established the Greek CIMAC, is the Greek National Mirror Association. We have 3 groups, users, loops and fuels. I'm steering the fuels committee. It's a great initiative for any company that would like to enroll. Concluding, it is highly recommended that the latest ISO 8217 specification is used. It's not perfect, but it's the best baseline you can get to safeguard your interests. Remember, marine biofuels or the bunkers are a bioproduct and we cannot afford any complacency. Thank you very much.